now entering the Church for Entrepreneurs, your spiritual dojo to learn the Word of God and receive godly counsel so you can grow faith and gain insight to succeed at your entrepreneurial calling. Now let's begin. Here's our founder, Amos Johnson Jr.
Welcome to another daily study so we can grow our faith. I'm talking about how do you think through and achieve a faith project. A faith project is when you go after something that you currently don't have the resources to get. For example, buying a house, leasing office space, purchasing certain equipment in the business that you're working on when you don't have the money to actually get those things. So in today's message, we're going to learn a 6-step analysis process to think through and achieve your faith projects. Number one, the first thing you got to ask yourself is what is currently in your hand to achieve this project. 2 Kings 4:2 says, "And Elijah said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in thy house? And she said, Thy handmaiden has not anything in thy house save a pot of oil." In this story, this lady is in so much debt that debt collectors are coming to take her sons to be slaves. And so she has a big faith project that she's trying to undertake is, how do I get out of all this debt? And what Elijah does for her is simply ask the question, what do you have in your hand? So in the same way, the first thing you got to ask yourself when you're tackling a faith project that you don't have the resources for, you got to ask yourself, what currently do you have in your hand that can help with this particular project? That's the first question you got to ask yourself. In this case, this lady had a pot of oil. So that was the starting point to begin her faith project. Number two, what do you need to learn to achieve this project? Joshua 2:1 says, "And Joshua the son of Nun sent 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab and lodged there." So before Joshua started the battle of Jericho, this was his faith project. It was a project that was bigger than anything he's ever done before. Before he went into that project, he went to scout out the land to see what the deal was. So the second thing you got to do is just like Joshua, you got to figure out what do you need to learn to achieve this project? What new information or what new knowledge do you need to gain in order to accomplish this particular project? So with Joshua, he had to gain knowledge of the terrain, of the forces, of the defense, so he can begin his faith project. Number 3, what mindset or fear do you need to overcome to achieve this project? Job 3:25 says, "For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came." So all the bad stuff that happened to Job was because he was in fear of something, and the things that he feared happened to him. So there was a mindset of fear that was bringing all this bad stuff on Job. So when you're going into a faith project, you got to rid your mind of all the mindsets that's creating fear of lack, fear of not having enough, fear of not having the skills to achieve this particular project. Number 4, what favor from people do you need to achieve this project? Let's look at the story of Nehemiah 2 verses 5-8. "And I said to the king, If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, to the city of my fathers, that I may rebuild it. And the king said to me, How long will you be gone? When you will return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. And I said to the king, If it pleases the king, let letters be given to me to governors of the province beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah, and a letter to Asphar, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the fortress of the temple, and the walls of the city, and for the houses which I will occupy. And the king granted me what I asked, for the good hand of my God was upon me." So in this particular case, Nehemiah was going back to Judah, and he was going to rebuild the gates, the city, the temple. He was going to rebuild what was lost. But in order to get there, he needed favor from the king. He needed papers so he could travel safely. He needed wood for the fortress. So those different things he needed, and he asked this king who he was working for, and because God had his favor upon him, he had favor with the king. So with your faith project that's bigger than you, that's bigger than your resources, you got to ask yourself, what favor from people do you need to achieve this project? Number 5, what resources does your faith need to receive to achieve this project? Luke 14:28 and 31 says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it? Or what king going to war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he's able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? So Jesus is saying, before you take on a project, you need to sit down and figure out what resources do you need in order to achieve that particular goal. You don't have to have the resources, but you need to figure out what resources do you need, so that way you can specifically set your faith to get those particular resources. And number 6, what words of faith do you need to say to achieve this project? Mark 11:23 says, "For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he says shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he says." So Jesus says that we have what we say. If we believe the words that we say will come to pass, then we shall have what we say. So the power of receiving what we desire, that faith project, is in the power of our words. So we have to use our words to speak in faith the specifics of the outcome of this project that we're trying to achieve. So if I go back and recap, what my endeavor today is to give you a list of 6 things to ask yourself in order to begin the process of putting all the pieces together for a faith project. Remember, a faith project is something you're trying to go after that you don't have the resources for. Maybe you're trying to get an office building. Maybe you're trying to lease a conference center because you're going to have a conference one day. Whatever the faith project is, and if your resources tell you you can't do it, these 6 steps will help you get you on the right thought process and saying the right things in order to achieve that faith project. The first thing you had to do was you had to ask yourself what you currently have in your hand that can be used as a seed to begin this project. So whatever that is that you have right now that's a little, you can start to put that to work towards that particular faith project. Number 2, what do you need to learn to achieve this project? Maybe there's some things you need to learn about the convention industry, or maybe there's some things you need to learn about office buildings. Whatever you need to learn, you need to figure out what are some of the things that I need to learn in order to achieve this project. Number 3 was, what mindset or what fear do you need to overcome to achieve this project? What things are in your mind that's holding you back, that you're afraid of, that's stopping you from achieving this project? So you need to ask yourself, what are those things, so you can kind of counteract those things. Number 4, you got to ask yourself, what favor from people do you need to achieve this project? Do you need certain building permits? Do you need favor with the city, or do you need favor with the Congress, or do you need favor with just your neighbor around the corner? You got to ask yourself, what favor do I need from people to actually achieve this project, so you can set your faith for that favor that you need. Number 5, you got to ask yourself, what resources do you need to achieve this project? Because remember, Jesus told us, now, who sits down first to build a tower without first counting the cost? So you need to count up all the costs of doing this particular thing, determining what resources need to be put in place to achieve this project. And once you figure out the resources that you need to achieve this project, now you can put your faith specifically to receive those resources to achieve that project. And finally, number 6, what words of faith do you need to say to achieve this project? So if you've already been through the other 5 steps, you've already gathered what information you need to know, you gather what resources you need, you know what you currently have in your hand, you know what favor you need from people. So now you use your words to bring all that to pass, and your words are backed by your faith. And according to Jesus in Mark 11:23, you can have what you say. So you achieve your project by knowing the things and the people that you need to achieve it, and then you put words of faith to work to receive those things, which means that it's very important that you guard every word you say out your mouth. Don't let yourself slip into negative talk, so your faith can stay strong, so you can achieve the faith project that God has placed in your heart. Today's daily study has concluded, and I pray it was a blessing to you. If you want to partner with Church for Entrepreneurs, just go to churchforentrepreneurs.com/partner. That's churchforentrepreneurs.com/partner. And also, if you want to connect with us more, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com and join our online platform, and let's connect. You guys be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon.
Today's message has concluded, but your learning has just begun. Fill your mind with what you heard and allow the Holy Spirit to expand it and show you how to apply it. Remember, faith is the key to your success, but without action, your vision goes nowhere. So until next time, put faith into action. Now go be successful.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
The way we work is changing every day, thanks in large part to the internet. So if you're an online creator, what can you do to create a sustainable future for yourself? On Attach Your Resume, creators share how their jobs work, especially during times like these where big changes are happening in the online world. Listen to interviews with internet reporter Taylor Lorenz, CEO of Patreon Jack Conte, representatives from Defector, Aftermath, and more. Whether you're an online creator yourself or curious about what's going on in the online Wild West, search Attach Your Resume wherever you listen to your podcasts.